Hi, this is Bob Seitz, and you're looking at Full of Years. Today I want to talk to you about the possibility that you're old and arcane. This is not a good vocabulary lesson for folks who understand Latin, but for the rest of us, it might be a good word to think about. Arcane's a great word. It's usually has negative connotations, as in old and stuffy and fuddy-duddy. Something that's arcane is not known to very many people, and if they know it, they're pretty rare, or just maybe they're pretty old. So when you get older, a lot of the stuff you know is arcane by definition. You've done things and used things and made things and operated things that nobody else knows about anymore. Those of you who are cobalt engineers, you remember when 2000 hit and you suddenly were valuable again because so few people knew about that computer language. So they called you back to work. There's a sense in which arcania is a kind of a good thing. Think about what would happen, for example, if it was hard to find food in markets for whatever reasons. Who would know still how to grow their own food and can it or preserve it or set it aside? Think about folks who know how to repair things with their hands, who have sort of native wisdom and intelligence in their fingers that they could repair anything. I probably just named an old person you know, or maybe you. Think about folks who gather just facts that don't seem to be all that important. We call them trivia, and that's not really fair. Who just know a lot of stuff. They just know almost anything, any subject, they know something about it. I've known people like that, and they're just wonderful to know because that arcania, those arcane matters, can be valuable when you get to be older. And there are folks who don't know what they're talking about. And they turn around, they look at you and say, hey, do you know about how locomotives work? Or they say, you know, could you fix this? I don't know how this thing could be fixed. I want to throw it away, but somebody told me you know how to fix things. Arcane matters belong to us when we're old because we've had all those experiences in life, and they've been good and they've been bad. Some of the arcania that we have is what to be aware of. Some of the arcane matters that we are gifted with, or perhaps even blessed with, some of those arcane matters are negative too. Don't do this. Beware. Be careful. Watch out. That's a kind of an arcane thing too, in a world in which everybody thinks that everything's possible, especially if you're younger, and by golly, I went to college and I have a master's degree in science. I do, and I did, but what I really value about myself is that as I get older, there's all kinds of stuff that I know that nobody else does. There's all kinds of stuff that I can do that sometime might turn out to be valuable. There's all kinds of people and places that I've been and things that I've seen that might be valuable at some moment, but I'm just now not being asked about them, and so I tuck them away. So because you're old and because there's some arcane matters that probably rest inside of you, I want to invite you to an appreciative way of thinking about yourself and to keep at it. Keep holding on to those things that nobody else knows. To keep buffing up those skills that you thought nobody would ever ask you about. Don't throw away everything that's old. It might be useful. There will be a time, perhaps, in our society when being old will be like it is in many tribal civilizations, where the older you get, the more you're respected because the more you can do and the more you know. Those days are still coming. And when they come, folks around you will need to look at you and say, hey, do you know how to make fire?